Buying a B-stock guitar can be risky, dude. Sure, it seems like a solid way to save a decent chunk of change on your next purchase, but you never really know what the problem with the guitar is going to be until it shows up. And when the B-stock guitar you're buying is still 1800 quid, the risk is even higher. But I decided to do it anyway and find out whether it's worth it. So this is my new Boden Original NX6, and it is a B-stock. Yep, you heard me right, it's a B-stock guitar for almost $2,000, including import and taxes, But that's a seriously good deal and a £500 saving if the guitar is all good. Spoiler alert, there is something not quite right with this guitar, but I promise you'll see it loads in this video, so see if you can spot it and I'll reveal what it is a little bit later on. And here's a little clue to start you off. It took me a good couple of weeks to even realise what it was, but once I noticed it, it was super obvious. Let's talk about the appearance and build quality overall though. I'm about to read you what Strandberg describe as their B-stock models on their website, which is where I got this guitar from. B-stock instruments are perfectly performing guitars and basses with minor visual remarks from manufacturing or handling. They are backed by the same purchasing, returns and warranty policy as full price instruments. So in theory, you should just be getting a brand new guitar from Strandberg that doesn't quite meet their impeccably high levels of quality in the looks department, but it doesn't tell you much more than that and it's hard to know what to expect. The good thing is that they still have the same warranty and 30-day return policies, so it does mean you're not going to get stuck with a guitar that you're not completely happy with. Personally, I think this is an incredible looking guitar though, dude. Yeah, it is my third Boden and my fourth Strandberg overall, so it might be a little bit of an understatement to say that I like them. The headless design of the Boden, for me, is one of the best looking axes around, and it is the undisputed king of headless guitars. The take on an S-type body but shaped by science into this modern but elegant silhouette is absolute perfection. That might actually be the most posh thing I've ever said.
Modern but elegant silhouette is absolute perfection.
But it's true, it's a sick looking guitar. If you like headless guitars, that is. I went for the natural, despite being told that it looks like a piece of furniture. I disagree, just because I like the rawness of it. Really seeing the materials properly is just such a cool contrast to the heavy glosses and stuff that you usually get with electric guitars. And that's something that Strandberg's super good at anyway. The wood is always on show. Specs wise, we've got a chambered swamp ash body, quadruple A quilt maple veneer, quarter sawn carbon reinforced maple neck with the patented Endorsed neck profile, bird's eye maple board with a 20-inch radius, 24 Jaketto stainless steel frets, loom inlay side and inlay dots, Sir pickups, Strandy EGS hardware, 5-way switch, volume and tone. You guys who know Strandberg are well aware that all this incredibly high-end kit that they put into these guitars is pretty much standard fare for the majority of their models. But for anyone that's new to Strandberg, all this stuff is impeccably high quality. Granted, you want it to be with the prices that you pay for these guitars, but it doesn't make it any less impressive when you get your hands on one. But what is the problem with this particular guitar? Well, I can tell you, it's definitely not how it was put together. This particular instrument matches the QC and build quality of all my other Strandbergs easily. It's so impressive actually that it did take me a couple of weeks to notice why this thing was even a B-stock in the first place. If you need another clue, it's something that you would see loads if you were sat playing the thing. One complaint that seems to crop up a lot online about these guitars is people criticising the fretwork. Sharp fret ends, fret sprout and just general bad finishing are all complaints that I've read, and that is something that should worry you because shit fretwork is what separates the worst guitars from the best. But even after 4 guitars, I have yet to have one that hasn't got fretwork that is absolutely flawless, and this one's exactly the same. Aside from Jaketto making good ass frets, all the other work that you'd expect like the board edges and polishing and everything else is absolutely top tier. The board edges are super comfortable and there is not one single sharp fret end in sight to stab my hand off. It is just a joy to play and look at, dude. But these guitars are meant to be played, right? It's well documented how many years of work, revision and engineering knowledge Ole Strandberg put into making these guitars the most ergonomic instruments he could possibly create, and it really shows when you get one in your hands. They're not meant to be case queens. That's what the J Artisans are for. They are the guitar that you buy when your wife won't let you get an Harley Davidson for your midlife crisis. Anyway, in my humble internet idiot opinion, I don't believe there's another guitar company making production guitars that get anywhere near as close to as comfortable and as playable as these things are. It is the main reason that I've got so many of them, and I don't regret getting a single one. The Boden is designed in such a way that you can sit with it pretty much however you want and still be comfortable. Fun fact actually about the body, I think I heard this from a Strandberg video with Ola, but it's called the Boden because somebody mentioned to him that it reminded them of antlers from a reindeer, and Boden is a place in Sweden that's pretty well known for its reindeer. I thought that were pretty cool, but maybe that's just me. The other thing about the body is the neck heel, dude. It is sick as far as bolt-on neck heels go. I mean, just by looking at it, you can immediately tell that it's really been thought about. The different planes are all there to reduce as much hindrance to your fretting hand as possible when you're playing further up the neck, and it works so well. I barely even notice the neck heel when I'm playing anymore. Like some guitars, Les Pauls, have got absolutely garbage neck heels, and it never gets any easier to play on them, but this thing is just so fluid, dude. I will say this though, it's really good, but it's just not quite perfect. Because the guitar is headless, the neck sits further into the body than a guitar with an head. Stock. That's just because of the tuners and stuff being at the bottom of the guitar, changing where the scale length sits on the body, and it's just kind of how it is. What that means is when you're playing, you do meet the neck heel earlier than you would on a normal guitar. It's somewhere around the 15th fret on this, where it's usually like 17th to 19th on a normal guitar. But when the neck heel is this well designed, dude, it is really not that big of a deal. And if it does bother you that much, then maybe you should just splurge on the neck through models. Now, that is the perfect configuration of a Strandberg in my opinion, and I will own it one day. Finally, the biggest reason you need to try one of these guitars, being draw neck, dude. It's so good, but it definitely isn't for everyone. But if you like me and you do like it, I personally think that this one-of-a-kind neck profile is totally worth getting into the Strandberg ecosystem for. There's a lot of maths and science and biomechanics around the reason that this neck profile isn't round, but to sum it up, the human hand and arm can grip thicker stuff better than it can grip thin stuff. The planes on the neck are there so you've got the optimum thumb position and leverage all the way through the neck. That has made such a big difference for me and my guitar playing, but reassuringly, it hasn't broken my ability to play normal neck profiles either, which seems to be something people are scared of. I can swap and change between a Strandberg and any other normal guitar with absolutely no issue whatsoever, and that's the same for the multi-scale frets. There's like no adjustment period at all between this and any other guitar, so why not have the added bonus of like more balanced string tensions? It just makes sense. I reckon the biggest reason that you should buy any guitar is first and foremost how it plays, dude. And this thing is just an incredible instrument to sit down and play on for a long period of time without having any trouble with your hands. And it looks epic, even for a B-stock. In terms of tone, dude, this thing will do it all, and that comes down to a great set of pickups that are running through a 5-way switch that does something a little bit special. So these Sir pickups, the SSH Plus in the bridge and SSV in the neck, I think, are apparently Sir's most popular range of pickups, and that's for good reason. The SSH Plus is a true rock and metal pickup with a 17k resistance, so it's pretty f***ing hot really, but you still get all the warmth and character that you'd want from a proper passive humbucker. The SSV is a similar story, but that pickup is much lower resistance at 8k because it's for the neck, so it's more warmth and character than it is bite and clarity, which makes it the perfect pairing really. You sometimes get like this subtle harmonic overtone when you're playing long sustained notes or bends, and it makes for a really rich sound. It's like one of my favourite things about these pickups. Although I really like them, I can't help but feel that they're a little bit too mid-heavy sometimes, but only the slightest bit. It's nothing that you can't sort out with your amp settings, but if you are swapping and changing between guitars quite a lot for different tunings or something like that, then I'd suggest making individual profiles for each guitar on your modeler or your amp, just so it's a little bit easier to deal with once you've got a sound that you like. That's actually something I'd recommend doing anyway, just so you can really get the most out of each guitar. Anyway, the switch and its cool options. Only positions 1 and 5 are what you'd expect them to be, bridge and neck. The 3 inner positions is where it gets a little bit spicy. Position 2 is the inner coils of both pickups, 3 is the outer coils, and 4 is just the neck outer coil. Now, I'll be completely honest, and I've said it before, I am a 1 and 5 kind of dude. I generally don't touch the middle positions on any guitar, but when I do actually wander into clean tone world, these middle positions on this guitar create some of the best clean tones I think I've ever heard, especially from a dual humbucker guitar. And getting rid of the regular HH middle position where you've got 2 humbuckers on full blast and not using a single bridge coil, they are decisions that I can get behind fully. Those tones suck ass. What this guitar has are the most usable tones that you can fit on a 5-way switch. It chucks out riffs and leads like nothing else, but the middle positions do actually make me want to write more clean parts, and that takes some doing. I am not the most sophisticated dude when it comes to tones. I like gain and that's about it, but this guitar might actually help me mature if that's even possible. But could you spot the reason that this guitar was £500 cheaper than it should have been? I have shown it a ton in this video, but it is not completely obvious at first glance, or at least it wasn't to me. For ages I inspected this guitar end to end, and then it dawned on me. The fucking neck's the wrong colour, dude. The neck on mine looks roasted or like a really dark vintage tint, but when you check the pictures on the website, the neck pretty much matches the colour of the body. That's the only thing on this guitar that I can find that even seems like it might make it a B stock. Everything else on this guitar is absolutely perfect, and there aren't any marks or scratches anywhere, so it's the only thing I can think it could be. So a neck that looks like it's roasted maple got me 500 quid off. What? If I'd have bought this as A stock, I would have been completely satisfied. I'm tempted to email Strandberg and ask them if they can tell me what the imperfection was, because if it's something else, then their QC is unreal. So yeah, if you're thinking about grabbing a B stock guitar from Strandberg, then there's no reason to worry as far as I can tell. This is a f***ing awesome instrument. Thank you so much for watching, dude. I appreciate you. Take care, mate. Stay safe. I'll see you later. Buying like a solid way to see it a couple of weeks to even notice what B-stock instruments are perfectly performing guitars. That's so stupid. The good thing is that they still have the same warranty and Christ. Spat on my laptop. Personally, I think this is an the headless is for me is fucking hell modern but elegant. Just because I like it, all of this stuff is still absolutely flawless. Put into making these guitars the most in terms of tone. In terms of bridge and SSS vein, the net. Bye-bye, I'll see you soon. I'd suggest making, if you're swapping and changing between best clean tones out of any dual lumber Guben. Riffs and leans. Hey, stop talking, Jack, you fucking idiot. But when you check it out, but when you check the pictures on the website, some spit flew right at the camera.